Welcome to Music Pro Daily, where each day we share our insight to help music producers grow their brand, land more clients, and connect with the market. The Music Pro Daily podcast shares real value from the daily interactions of music professionals Nicholas DiLorenzo and myself, Daniel Grimmett. Happy Monday, Music Pro Daily family. It's our 1 month anniversary of posting these daily episodes. So I want to take a minute here to thank you guys again for, being early adopters, early listeners, the OGs, and giving us a chance to educate and entertain you on a daily basis. It means a lot. And listen, we're always open to feedback. Feel free to rate this podcast or even send us an email at musicprodaily@gmail.com. So we've got an exciting week of new episodes for you. And I want to start the week off with something that, quite frankly, shocks me. It's not good. And it's preventing a lot of you from getting what you want. And I feel like I need to bring it to your attention so that you can change it. So part of my job is I get to have intimate conversations, really, about business with hundreds of audio professionals every month and figure out what's wrong and what's going on. And, most of them work for artists and musicians. These are generally producers, mixers, guys like that. So their clients are artists and musicians. And one of the biggest things that shocks me is how uneducated they are about their clients' business. How the business works for artists and musicians. I'll say things like, hey, is there anything else you can guide, your artist on? What are good pieces of advice you've given to clients as far as their business goes? If an artist asks you about this, how would you respond, et cetera, et cetera? And most of them just kind of clam up and don't know what to say. Oh, well, I'm just a mixer. I'm a producer. That's not really my job. Listen, if you don't at least understand the basics of your client's business, then you don't deserve the clients. That's a big mantra with the producers and audio professionals that I consult, which is why we bring in outside people, sometimes inside people, to teach them about these things. Because in my world, if you don't understand the basics of your client's business, then you don't deserve the client, because someone else does. They should go work with that person. You can't tell me that you care about artists yet lack the curiosity to even know how their business works. It just doesn't add up. And I see producers and mixers, worried about saturation and competition in the market, but they're not worried about not knowing everything about how Spotify works. And then they wonder why it's hard for them to land, serious clients. It's like, why should you? You're not serious, And I'm not trying to be mean here, but this is super important. Learning your client's business is earning your client's business. I just made that up. That's not too bad. Write that down. Seriously though, you don't have to, you don't have to become an expert in a week at all this stuff. That'd be impossible. But at least, start learning the basics. There's really no excuse not to. If you're listening to this podcast, then obviously you have an internet connection. So set aside an hour a week to work to learn this stuff. That's it. Start there. And I'm going to give you a head start on what to learn and where to learn it. Okay, here's 7 things that you can start learning. So, number 1, learn how Spotify works. Go to YouTube and search for Charles Alexander Spotify. Charles Alexander Spotify. You're going to find some keynote speeches that he's done for, I think, like CD Baby and some of those conferences. Going to find some interviews. Some of my production clients have interviewed Charles. Charles is a friend of mine from Nashville and really one of the early Spotify experts. He's been a part of a couple of different Spotify playlist companies and just really an early adapter of it, and has a lot of incredible information on how that works that you could watch a 1 hour keynote from him and just could completely change what you know about Spotify. They're really great. Number 2, learn about direct marketing and social media ads for musicians. It's the future. It's how musicians are building their own things nowadays. And if they ask about, these are going to be things they want to ask about. And if you don't know what the heck they're talking about, then that's a problem. Good resource for that, check out Indiepreneur. It's INDEPRENEUR. Indiepreneur. I think their website is indiepreneur.io. They have some free and some inexpensive resources for you to help go in that. Like for my producers I consult, they should know, maybe not right out of the gate, but at some point they need to know how to run a campaign for a artist. Doesn't mean they have to do that or offer that as a service. They can if they want, but doesn't mean they have to do that, but they need to know how it works. Imagine how impressive that is when an artist is telling you what they're doing, what they've tried, how it's not working. You could say, well, tell me about that. Why didn't it work? Well, this, and this. And the producer could be like, oh, well, you should have done it this way. And like, oh, wow, cool. You're not even talking about producing the song. You've already helped that client. Who do you think they're going to choose to work on their music? Number 3, learn about running, the basics of a PR campaign, a DIY PR campaign. One of my clients, Mark Eckert, put together a really great free ebook on this that walks artists through the entire process. Read that, know that process. You can find that at mark-eckert.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom of the site, and he has a couple of different ebooks to download. It's the Indie PR ebook. Again, that's Mark, MARK dash Eckert, ECKERT.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom. That's where his ebooks are. Number 4, learning about the new take on all the traditional stuff as well, radio promotion, touring, etc., how all of that works. A couple great books for that. The $150,000 Music Business Degree by Rick Barker, and How to Make It in the New Music Industry, How to Make It in the New Music Business by Ari Herstand. I think he has a second edition of that comes out like today or tomorrow. I already pre-ordered it. The first edition was great. Number 5, learn the law, contracts, the legal side. Not as exciting, but important to know. There's a book to check out called But Where Do I Sign by Robert Nathan and Burgundy Morgan. You can find it online. When I was I did a little bit of audio school to get Pro Tools certified back in 2012 when I was first starting Sarning Team. I was only there for 3 months because by that point the business started taking off. But there was one class we had to do law, and one, unfortunately I forget, but one of these guys was actually, I believe, the instructor for this class. And this was the text that we used. So that book is called But Where Do I Sign? It's kind of expensive. I think you can find it online. Do some digging. Number 6, learn about the business of songwriting, how things work for songwriters. A lot of your clients probably write songs too. Maybe you write songs. Maybe you're a producer-writer. If you're a producer-writer and you don't know how this stuff works, then that's a problem both for your client and for yourself. Check out Songtown. It's a Nashville thing, but a lot of it, can apply to songwriters that are outside of country music. It's legally works the same, as far as I know. But they just have a great YouTube channel with a bunch of interviews from all these different writers and how they got into the business and how things work. They have a Facebook group, and they also have some premium resources as well. That's called Songtown. And then number 7, learning about sync licensing. A cool place to start with this. There's a interesting book called Thinking in Sync, a primer on the mind of a music supervisor. So it was written by a music supervisor, and it kind of educates people more on, what music supervisors look for, how they think, what their day-to-day looks like, how their business works. If you can understand that, you have a much higher chance of, building relationships with them. And that's amazing information for your artist clients to know. That'd be very impressive. So that is called Thinking in Sync, a primer on the mind of a music supervisor. It's a book. So that's 7 topics you can get started on. Don't want to overload you, but that's 7 good ones to get started on and where to start. So when you're having a consultation call with an artist and they start asking questions about this stuff or need advice, then you have answers, you have ideas. That can literally be the deciding factor of whether or not that artist feels good about choosing you. If you want to charge more, be the producer, the mixer that deserves to charge more. Make sense? That's all for today's episode. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow. A monumental thank you to those listening and those of you who share, subscribe, and review this podcast. Music Pro Daily is all orchestrated in-house by Nicholas DiLorenzo and myself, Daniel Grimmett. The music industry is our shared passion. If you ever want to see more of us in the office or at the studio, head over to musicprodaily.com, where you can find links to our socials and stalk more of us doing what we do best. Thanks again for listening. See you tomorrow.